Okay, item 8, Capital Programme Performance Report.
Morning,
Hello,
councillors.
Andrew. Welcome.
Thank you. As you're probably aware, Jed Klink has taken up a role with the IT department, and I'm acting in his role until I find a permanent replacement. So I'll take the report as read. As a high-level summary, given where we are in the current financial year, the numbers are tracking as we've previously reported, with the PM's forecasts at the end of April continuing to fall, dropping 17 million from previous month's report. The net carry forward correspondingly increased by 19 million to 155 million. About 52 million of that carry forward can be attributed to third-party payments to external organisations, and those and they're detailed in the report. Those being Central City Transport Interchange, Performing Arts Precinct, New Brighton Hot Saltwater Pools, Metro Sport and Cars Reserve Kart Club. With only 3 weeks of delivery remaining, the outcome, while we're maintaining delivery focus, will be what it is, and our focus now needs to be on the deliverability of next year's program. The business have been very focused on this recently, the results of which I believe are being worked through as part of the finalisation of the annual plan review, considering things like the NCT impact mentioned previously. The other area of focus at year end needs to be on the key drivers of the carry forwards. The numbers are straightforward enough to report and to understand, but what we really need to understand is what's driving those carry forwards. Is it a number of different things, consent processes, resource issues, board decisions, weather, spread thinly across all of the projects that are carrying forward, or are there some key drivers that we can identify and influence? We should be looking at strategies to mitigate these key drivers if we identify them. And to that end, I've asked the PMO to do some analysis around the carry forwards to identify what is causing those carry forwards for each project. So I won't go into any more detail in the report, and I'm happy to take questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Glenn?
Thank you. This might be one for Peter as well, if he's happy to answer with Andrew. And I've had a discussion with Peter, so I'm not going to spring it on him. But thank you for this, Andrew. Great information. Very curious, and obviously you've talked about the drivers for the carry forwards. We see this year on year. So my question is, what percentage of rates does the capital under delivery actually amount to? We're coming to the end of the financial year. Are you able to land on a percentage of the rates which won't be delivered?
I think
so we rate for X amount, but we're only...
That's not a question for
well,
Andrew.
No, yeah, okay. That's why I thought Peter could...
or Peter. It's a question for Carol, and we've talked about it in our annual plan meetings already. Do you want to... Carol, you can repeat what you said previously.
So
Okay,
you'll
then.
be aware with the capital program that we borrow for that, and we usually make an estimate of the likely percent that will be delivered, and we borrow at that percent. And as Diane has said in the annual plan briefings, we usually get that pretty right. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to reconcile that though with the fact that the carry forwards are far exceeding the bringbacks, and that we're not actually delivering every year on what the rate take is.
Yeah. So we look at the net of the carry forwards and the bringbacks, and that's what we're making an estimate and borrowing for. Yeah. Yeah.
We only borrow for 80 because we already estimate to do 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got a percent though of what isn't spent from the rates?
Dave, do you want to make a comment?
I think within the report, and I think I've highlighted here somewhere, we're saying that of the program that we're delivering, our people are estimating about 78%, but a lot of the carry forward are payments that we're making to external parties, and from our point of view, the longer we can hold it, the better we are. You can appreciate if I borrow today, in actual fact, most of the payments are in 12 months' time. So the borrowing this year gets built into next year's rates. And if I happen to spend right at the beginning of the year, obviously they've got to borrow and we've got some expense. But depending on where you borrow is the percentage of that. So the impact on rates, and Diane does a very good calculation of it. We have a little competition. to just estimate exactly what we think we will do. So the impact on rates really gets built into the annual plan for next year, and then she does another estimate based on the carry forward and all the other information she has about what she needs to borrow and the cash flow of that borrowing for the following year, because you can appreciate, again, if you look at our capital program, it's not smooth. I think the front of Andrew's graph, the first page there, has got the graph, you can see it's lumpy, and she does also models that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is lumpy, but there is a persistent and consistent lump at the end of the year of unspent money.
There's a carry forward and we allow for that. She calculates that. There are some projects that, you know, I'm sorry, we're not going to pay for something that we don't get. It's best from a ratepayer's point of view that we do that money. So we're not going to pay in advance. So all the payments, as I've said, we owe, I'm not sure, about 90 million. We're not going to pay them until we need to, and that's good for the ratepayer because that saves them that money. So some of those carry forwards are just purely a timing position, but Diane within her rate allows for that as we strike the rates.
Okay. Any other questions? Jimmy?
Thank you. On page 42, one of the key projects in a significant delay, the bullet point 2, Horsewell Junction Road extension. This one, even I raised this issue for several times, but up to now I didn't get actually clear the kind of answer from the staff. My particular concern, my understanding, this project initiated probably back to the 4 years ago. So up to now, every time we see the answer in here, mention all this detail, level crossing being worked through with Kiwi Rail. But my question is, how many times the staff has been engaged with the Kiwi Rail? What is Kiwi Rail response?
Okay, Jimmy.
What is a bottleneck? I would like to know
Again,
this one.
is not,
I didn't get this
it's a specific project question which Andrew can't answer. Again, we were briefed about this the other day, but Richard, would you like to tell us again
Yes.
what the story is?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there's a couple of things with the Horsewell Junction Road extension. One is the negotiations which have been ongoing with Kiwi Rail, and they have taken us longer than we'd like to resolve. However, the second issue is the recent news that we received from the New Zealand Transport Agency putting the Horsewell Junction Road extension into the unlikely to be funded category, and through the annual plan deliberations, our thinking is that that's one of the projects that should be pushed out to ensure that other projects can go ahead. So I can't say too much more other than that. It's really been a combination of matters, and one's been in relation to Kiwi Rail, and the other has been in relation to the unlikely funding that we're going to receive from NZTA.
Yeah, but my particular concern is timing. Timing. We initiate, back to the 4 years ago, probably were already done. Rather than just now, we assume, we get the information, the NZTA reluctant to subsidize those, the transportation, the traffic, the funding, etc. We already done. This is my particular concern. There's a series in the wider the Hornby area, particularly for the heavy motor vehicle and the trucks pass through, those residential area. This is my particular concern. Not only this, wider the Hornby, the residents and the business commercial group.
Thanks. I think Richard explained what the issue is. Any other questions? Okay. We have a resolution to accept the report. Do I have a mover? Moved Dion, seconded Pauline. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour say aye. Aye. Against, that's carried. Thank you very much, Andrew.